Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Kernersville Board of Aldermen, our first meeting of the new year. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, and we're glad you're here or joining us virtually. I'll begin by calling this meeting to order. We'll start with an invocation by Pastor Carol Holton of Children of Zion Outreach Ministry.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, we come to you in the matchless name of Jesus. Father, first of all, we want to give you thanks for what you've done in 2025. We thank you for bringing us through. We thank you for all the decisions that were made. We thank you for how you kept us safe. And Father, now we're just so grateful that you have brought us into 2026. In Jeremiah 29:7, it says that if we pray for our city, there will be peace. And so, Father, we're coming to you tonight, praying for this Alderman meeting. We're praying for those that are in leadership, that you bring them wisdom. Holy Spirit, your word said if we ask for wisdom, you will bring them. Father, we ask you to guide our decisions and guide our thoughts and our minds and our hearts, that as we make decisions, that it will bring you glory. In the mighty name of Jesus. And the people of God said, Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic, which is one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all. You may be seated. All right. So we do not have any public hearings tonight, which causes us to begin with the public session. And the first item on public session is speakers from the floor. At this time, I'll recognize the speaker who signed up, John Quigley. Oh, wait. You've signed up to speak on the grants for the Kernersville schools? All right, we'll hang on and do that then. All right, sorry about that. All right. Let's see, is there anyone else who'd like to address the board tonight on an item that is not included on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item B, consideration of a resolution setting the public hearing for a voluntary annexation of property located at 1519 NC 66 South, 0 Kernersville Medical Parkway, 0 Beeson Run, and 0 NC 66 South, containing 54.695 plus or minus acres. I'll recognize Catherine Gardner.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. The rezoning had a little bit of a setback, so we would like you to set the public hearing for March 3rd, which is when the rezoning will be on your docket.
Okay, do I have a motion? Got a motion by Alderman Apple.
Second.
Second, heard it everywhere. Second by Alderman Savanas. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, do we need to do anything further on that, Ms. Garner? Okay, thank you. If you wouldn't, could you explain to us why some of the addresses are 0?
They do not have buildings on the property, so there is no address for those parcels yet. The addresses are assigned when building permits are obtained.
Thank you. All right, so item C is consideration of ordinance amending Chapter 10 nuisances of the ordinances for the town of Kernersville. Is that Catherine? Ms. Garner.
Madam Mayor, this is an update to the nuisance code that would clearly state that graffiti is a nuisance and how we would propose to work with property owners to remedy the graffiti, and then what would happen if that was not abated. This is becoming an issue across town at various places, and we've had good cooperation from those property owners who are affected, but we want the nuisance ordinance to clearly articulate that graffiti is considered a nuisance.
Okay. Are there any questions, or do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem
Second.
Loram, second by Alderman Pegram. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, item D, discussion and consideration of support for the Eating for Education program with the Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Swisher, Mr. Quigley will include your comments in this, but Mr. Swisher, if you could go ahead and get us started.
All right, Madam Mayor and Board, this came up last month, I think, brought up that donating $5,000 to the Winston-Salem Foundation to go to the Forsyth County school system. And the board discussed it and said they would rather the $5,000 go directly to the schools. The board then directed myself to work with the Chamber of Commerce, as they have in the past, I don't know, 15 years, probably 20 years, did the Eating for Education. Ms. Coleman came up and advised the board that there were several projects that were left unfunded through their Eating for Education process. So I did. I met with Ms. Comer and Ms. Herman a couple days after that meeting and went over the projects, the grant requests that were submitted to them that were not funded through their efforts. And we came up with 6 of the projects that were left unfunded that we are recommending to you. All of these are at Kernersville schools, and you can see we hit a middle school, an elementary school, and also a high school. So you have that list of projects in your packet. There's a memo in there for myself to you all, and they total $4,851.99. These projects were the ones that were ranked the highest. They rank them 1 through 3, and all of these were a 1 through 3 project. And if the board approves this, the money would be given to the Chamber of Commerce with the stipulation that it go to these schools for these particular projects. So I don't have anything else about that. I think Ms. Comer or Ms. Herman might like to elaborate on what I've told you.
Okay, Ms. Comer, Ms. Herman, or Ms. Link?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Aldermen. I want to introduce those that make the education grants so successful. Kim Herman and Pam Link co-chair this committee and have for 13 years, more for Pam. Pam was a part of the pioneer years when Monica Young started this as well. So we did meet with Curtis. We have a process that our committee goes through. Once we receive the grants from our teachers from our 12 public schools and 1 charter, we take those grants and we read them, our committee members do, and then they put numbers to those readings. And it's based on mission, based on creativity, based on the number of kids that are going to be supported, and total project. And with that came quite a few that came to the top, and of that, 6 of the schools of the 7 that are in Kernersville. Only reason there's not a 7th is because every one of Caleb's Creek's grant requests from their teachers were funded this year. We do have, Curtis chose grants that have to do with exceptional children, that also have to do with history, English, mathematics, science. So it really does cover everything for our teachers. And these are projects that the teachers want to offer their students that are in addition to the education they're already getting. So it matches their students in their classroom of what more they need for that year. And if you have any questions about any of the really cool titles, I can tell you what they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Quigley?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the board. My name is John Quigley, 422 Mountain View Drive here in Kernersville. And I just want to voice support for sending this $5,000 over to the Chamber of Commerce. I say that because I've worked in the school system. I'm retired, worked in the school system for 22 years. And I have seen teachers take money out of their own pockets for certain things like sneakers for kids coming in off the school bus, barefooted, but I also seen a principal of a school take a 50-gallon fish tank and have the special needs children. I taught them how to feed the fish, change the tank, whatnot, you know, and they would all appreciate it. But my point is, the money's better served in our community here in Kernersville, and the best people to do the transfer is the Chamber of Commerce, because they've done a terrific job. It's pretty much.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. All right, is there any other questions about these grant titles? As Ms. Comer indicated, feel free to ask, or any other comments, or are we ready to vote? Go ahead. Mr. Apple, speak in your microphone, please.
Are there, of this list, is there still a remaining list of grant requests beyond the just under $5,000 figure?
Yes.
How lengthy is that list, and what would you say are the still yet, even after this, yet to be unfulfilled?
Well, we do have one additional grant that Curtis had mentioned he was interested in, but it took us to $5,100. So there is an additional grant that I have a list for tonight. 30,000? Is it safe?
I can add them up, these, and
Well, I didn't give you every one of them. Yeah.
Kim, if you could come up so everyone can hear. And your voice won't be picked up for the YouTube if you're sitting
Perfect.
down
Oh, great.
too. So.
Thank you. We received, Chris, how many, was it 74 grants this year total? Do you know the number total for that? It was 85,000. So there was a lot that were left unfunded. We were able to fund, was it 22? And the total on that was, can't remember, 38,000 or 48? Yes, 4,800. No, for the big, our surprise patrol that we already did this year, 22,000. And so we have grants, requests can be up to $1,000 now. They used to be 500, but we bumped that up because of the cost of things. And so now we do give out less grants currently, but a lot of them are for a much larger number. That's why that number.
And on I've got the sheet that we used that morning. When you do the Kernersville schools, and when I say Kernersville, there's some on here from Sedge Garden that I didn't include. Union Cross, Smith Farm, Piney Grove, and Piney Grove technically is not in the city limits, but we could use that. But the ones that are left remaining, the best I can tell, Alderman Apple just adding them up fairly quickly, is right at $6,800, and that does not include one for Piney Grove that is $1,000. And Glen is in the city limits of Winston-Salem. So I think it would be about $7,700 if you included one for Piney Grove. And that's left on the list that we used that morning to choose the ones that we presented tonight.
What is the next project up? In other words, if we were to add the next one that someone said would take you to about the $5,100 level.
That is a $270 games,
Yeah.
math games.
Frog games
Frog games,
at
yes,
Cash
math
Elementary.
project, Cash Elementary. What we did was we brought to the table all of the ones that sort of rose to the top that had not been chosen. What we do is we put it into 3 segments. We put it into ones that are absolute done. We put it into ones that still are in considerations, and ones that kind of are a little bit lower on the number scale once we're finished. And so then we gave what was left that were sort of near the top that had not been chosen for funding.
I'll tell you, Madam Mayor, what I'm thinking is I'm wondering if it would take us to $100 more than the 5 we were prepared to spend, would it not be worthwhile for us to consider funding that next one as well? That one project may make a lot of difference to It's a particular group of kids. I don't know who it is. Don't need to know, but is that not something that we could consider doing? I don't know whether there's any further support on the board for that.
Would the
or not.
motion then be, Curtis, since we're not sure the exact, or do you know the exact amount of that project?
Yeah, I think Chamber provided a total here with that project. That project is $270.60, and the total is $5,122.59. So if you wanted to do it to be safe, you could say up to $5,200, and that should cover it.
If there's sentiment on the board to consider doing that, I'd like to encourage that and would be prepared to make a motion. Consensus to do it.
Yes.
I'd rather we be known for doing one more than we planned on it than one less.
I think it's time for a motion.
I
Go
would
ahead.
make a motion that we fund the additional item up to $5,200 then, as opposed to the $5,000.
And I second it.
All right, I've got a motion by Alderman Apple, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your presentation, and I appreciate all your hard work. I have to say, that is a lot of hours of reading applications for a lot of years and a lot of really early mornings that are very fun on the prize patrol. So I would encourage any of the aldermen who've not been on a prize patrol to consider going on a future prize patrol. Chris Comer can let you know dates and times because it is a secret. It's a surprise. And it's so much fun to go into the classrooms and make that presentation. So thank you, ladies, for your hard work. All right. We are moving on, right? Okay, item E, consideration of a lease agreement with M. Clay Properties, property on Shields Road.
Madam Mayor and Board, this is a property that the town currently leases. To give you an idea where it's at, if you go down Union Cross Road and get to the stoplight at Union Cross and Shields Road where the new Parks and Rec building is, you turn left, it is that entire field on the left. So we've tried to purchase the field, as some of you that have been on the board are aware. We've tried to purchase it for several years. The owner is not interested in selling it, but they do lease it to us at a really good price. We used to lease it for right around $5,000 or $5,500. As with everything, his taxes went up on it, so the lease went up kind of to compensate for that. So he's fine with leasing it to us. The good thing through the lease is that we have the first right of refusal to purchase the land should he decide to sell it. And for the two new board members, we use the property for parking. We use it a lot for some of the larger cross-country events. We'll park in it. Ernie's used it for some events now at the building because you can't access it. There's a driveway there right across from the building. So we'll use it if we have some overflow parking for events at the building as well. So we get some use out of it. We're planning to use it. I'll update you later on in the night. We're planning to use it later on this year as well. So, you know, we would recommend leasing the property. This is a little different lease than what was first posted. The first one was for 4 years at $9,500. This one is $10,000 for 2 years with some optional renewal terms. So we're fine with the terms of the lease. They're pretty similar to the first lease we had. The first one was 1 year terms. This one does give us a 2 year before we go to the 1 year. So he's fine with it. In fact, he sent me back the signed copy on his side this morning. And, you know, it's great for us. Like I said, we get to use it for parking. We do mow it, but usually it's what we do is we let them grow hay on it, and then the farmers in the area, we've got a couple of them that come in and cut it and bale the hay twice a year, so they get that use out of it. He used to do that for his horses, but as part of it, when he leased it, he lost that. So be glad to answer any questions that anyone has regarding that.
Okay, any questions, or do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into this lease agreement with Clay Properties for property located on Shields Road.
Okay, got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham,
Second.
Second by Alderman Semanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, that brings us to item F, consideration of resolutions designating ABC permit officials. Mr. Swisher?
This is the first time I think that the board's actually had to approve these. Is what it does is it designates an official to make recommendations to the North Carolina ABC Control Commission on whether or not an establishment should get an ABC permit. Usually pretty standard. There's been a few in the past that we've made a recommendation of not giving them a permit for whatever reason. But it's what this does is it allows Chief Tilley and Assistant Chief Pittman and Assistant Chief Merritts to sign off on these so that all of them they don't have to go through the mayor. Usually they've signed off on them in the past anyway, but now the board has to adopt this resolution giving them permission to do that.
Okay, do I have a motion? Okay, so can we, Mr. Powell, can we approve all three in one motion? Or do we need to vote separately since there's three different resolutions?
I think it's always good to do everything separately.
Okay, so I'll accept the motion for designating as an ABC permit official as Chief Jason Tilley from Alderman Apple. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, now we're to Eric Pittman. Okay. Motion to designate an ABC permit official Eric Pittman. Got a motion by Bill. Second by Alderman Pegram. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Move we approve the resolution with respect to Assistant Chief Maratz.
Okay, designate ABC permit official Damian Merritts. Motion by Alderman Apple.
Approved. Or second.
Second by Alderman Savanas. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, moving on to item G, the budget ordinance, the amendment number 6. Mr.
Madam
Swisher.
Mayor and Board, you have in your packet the budget amendment, and for the two new alderman members, budget amendments come up. We do those when we have items come up that we have expenditures for that were not in the budget initially. And for an example is under general fund expenditures number 2, $87,000 to recover the cost of a patrol vehicle. We had one getting wrecked and it was a total loss. So we have to replace that vehicle, but it was not budgeted for in July or June, actually, when the budget was adopted. So these are items that came up during the year, they're not budgeted for, and state law requires approval by the board. We have to have the money in the line item in that budget to do it, so we have to amend the budget for that reason. So you have several of those tonight. You have the one I just mentioned. You also have an offsetting revenue for that of $22,000 in insurance money that we received. And the Fire Rescue Department, $6,147 recovers the replacement cost of a fire hose that was damaged during an incident. We have the first one there in the IT department of $21,000. We upgraded our firewall upgrades. We received a grant for that. The grant is down in the revenues portion, the exact same amount as the expenditure. And then in the rec department, $73,000, we had a transformer that was struck by lightning down at Ivory Redmond Park that we had to replace. It's not a power transformer out on a pole. It was one there in the park. And then we had to buy some extra tables for the Parks and Rec building for events. Sand rock, we were low on sand rock, didn't buy quite as much last year, so we had to buy some this year. And then we had an increase in our software license fees. All of that together increased the fund balance appropriation of $144,000 to balance the general fund revenues with the expenditures. And then I don't think there's any in the other funds. So it was all general fund amendments tonight. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions? I have a motion to approve budget amendment number 6.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the budget amendment number 6 ordinance for the fiscal year ending 2025, 2026.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham,
Second.
second by Alderman Pegram. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, so we are to the consent agenda. So basically, this helps us do routine things a little faster. So there can be a lot of things on this, including reappraisals from meetings in Winston-Salem about taxes. So we're sent a notice that the tax value is less, so we've got to adjust that. We can have our minutes on it. So when you have a closed session minute, there will be approval of the minutes for, say, just for example, December 9 closed session. But then the minutes themselves won't be clickable because they're closed session items. So Keith prints those minutes, and so the aldermen, you'll get those in an envelope from Keith, so they're confidential. And we actually do keep a minute book of confidential minutes because state law requires that. That's something that Keith keeps. So they are adopted, and if you need to make a change to see an error in one of the minutes, then just ask to pull it off the consent agenda item, and then we'll discuss it, make the change, and vote on it separately. If you need to make a change to minutes from a closed session because there's an error in the minutes, something's not written down right or whatever, then we go into closed session to discuss those changes and to make those changes. So that's kind of how it works. There's really only 2 items today. It really would be faster to vote on them individually, but this allows us to have multiple items on the consent agenda and helps speed the meetings up for the citizens in attendance because they're routine things generally. If it's something we need a lot of discussion of, we try to put it on the regular agenda, but if it needs to be discussed in detail, then we pull it from the consent agenda and then discuss it and vote on it outside the consent agenda. So we're to the consent agenda. These matters are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the matter will be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the following item. A, approval of minutes for the December 2 organizational meeting. B, approval of minutes for the December 9 regular meeting. Is there anyone in the on-town staff who's here or any citizens in attendance who'd like to see anything removed from the consent agenda for further discussion? Seeing none, is there any board member who'd like to see anything removed from the consent agenda for further discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Sabanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, this allows us to skip item 3, items removed from the consent agenda because there were none. But if we had any, it would be, 3A or 3B or 3G or whatever it was. All right, so we're to the town manager's report and miscellaneous. Mr. Swisher, I think you've got a report from the nominations committee, but you may have other things as well.
I do, yes, ma'am. I have several items. Most of them are just updates on some information, but the first one is the nominations committee met, and they are recommending 2 appointments to the Recreation Advisory Board. Term would expire June 30th of 2028. Those 2 individuals being recommended for appointment are Linda Meadows and John Barrow, and also Mr. Barrows would be on the pool steering committee.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Alderman Gorham, or Mayor Pro Tem Gorham, second by Alderman Apple. All in favor? It's unanimous.
The other item is to let you know that we submitted an application for funding of a feasibility study for the Kernersville Creek Greenway running from Pope Park to East Forsyth. And that was just the funding of a feasibility study, not for the Greenway. There is no cost involved in that, but we will be asking the board for a resolution of support. We will have that on your agenda. January 26th, I think the application was due either yesterday or Friday, so we went ahead and submitted that application. And then, of course, a resolution of support. If you all support that feasibility study and adopt the resolution, we'll submit that with it. If you do not, then the application will be withdrawn. So that will be January 26th. We will have some individuals here from the TAC kind of explain that. And we will also at that time have a memorandum of understanding between Kernersville and all other municipalities in the TAC. That will just be a renewal of the one that we currently have.
So what date will that be?
It's actually January 28th. I said 26th.
Our regular
It's the
meeting.
28th, yeah. Will be our next meeting. The other update I have, let's see which order I want to do this in. Ernie has secured Chris Lane Band for the America 250 and Kernersville 155, I think that's correct. Celebration to be held in April at Ivy Redmond Park. Want to let you all know that he will be performing. We have a contract. Our intention is to offset the cost of that band through parking fees. We will utilize the field that you all just approved the lease on. We will park cars in that field, and then they will walk down to where the band will perform. I think they'll be in the parking lot at the baseball fields, correct? So we think we can, we'll have enough folks there parking to offset the cost of it. I think the cost of the band, got a good deal on the band. It's still expensive. It's like $33,000. Is that correct, Ernie? $33,000. He's usually about $150,000. Since he is from Kernersville, I think he gave us a pretty good deal maybe on that. So we'll do that and then try to offset the cost with the parking. So got several other events. I think Ernie kind of covered a lot of those last time. We got several other events planned for that day as well. And that's Saturday, April what? April 11th. And he will be at 7 o'clock. Okay. So
I'm a little concerned about charging for parking because many of our festivals and events have not had a parking charge. So I wonder what the parking charge would be and if it would be, something that people would be parking not in the designated parking to avoid paying the parking charge. I'm a little concerned about that if it's not well advertised, and that could be just not very well received. Because our Honeybee Festival, the parking's free. Spring Folly, the parking, individual lots have charges because they're doing fundraising, but that would be a pretty big change to charge for parking.
that is, if this board would prefer not to charge for parking, we can do that. There's not being offsetting revenue source there, but we can do that.
Curtis, what's the cost for the parking?
$10, is that correct?
Ernie, if you come forward, because it's hard to hear across the room.
For else between $7 and $10 a car, regardless of how many people in their car. Usually looking at 3,000 cars, that comes out to about $30,000 to offset, 33,000 for the Chris Lane Band and his management team, his writers and all that to offset. Again, if you don't want to charge, then I can.
The park itself, however, only does generate enough revenue that we could cover that without the parking charges. I mean, not just for this event necessarily, but we won't have a problem digging into the pocket to do that if we decide to do that. If we decide to waive the parking charge.
Yeah, if you decide to waive the parking charge, I believe there's enough funds to cover I'm just making a practice to make sure that when we do something of this magnitude, that we find an offsetting revenue source. That's up to you to say yay or nay on it. But, most of our events, our weekend events, we do charge for parking, through our parking meters, and hasn't been an issue. But to Dawn's point, they can park in the industrial park and walk up, and there's no way to catch them from there. But, we've made it a practice when we do cross-country, charge for parking, and it hasn't, 6 on one hand, half a dozen the other, I guess.
Yeah, we charge for events or tournaments. For events like this, like the mayor said, Spring Folly, Honeybee, we've not held any of those at the Parks and Rec Center, so we've not had any charge. But for the tournaments, like Ernie said, at the building, we do charge for those. And for several of the cross-country events, we charge for. And for the baseball, they charge for some of those. We don't, but they do.
I have a question. Are we going to have vendors present, and are they having like a permit fee or anything that would potentially offset?
So at the nighttime event, we will have food trucks. The food trucks is one of those iffy ones. If you charge for a permit or a registration fee, and I can't guarantee, we're going to have, like Spring Folly, you get 40,000 people, right? You can charge a fee because you're guaranteeing them a captive crowd. I can't do that because it's a first-time event. It's a one-time event. Everybody will be doing 250, American 250 things. It's tough to say, so I won't charge for parking on that or registration. The other side of it is I can charge a percentage of their proceeds. Then I'm relying on them to give me accurate numbers, and so it's not really accurate. So just to get food trucks in there is a plus. We're looking at applying for beer wine sales, and all of our vendors in town have been really great to work with. They usually give us 50-50 splits on what they sell, but not everybody drinks beer and wine. So there's that. So it's not really a great revenue source to offset the cost of the Chris Lane Band, whereas parking is usually your best bet to have a good revenue source.
I think maybe a footnote that's appropriate to make here is that the reason that we can even consider waiving this parking fee is because of the appeal of the events that Parks and Recreation does host at Ivy Redmond, and because of the effective management of the expenses of those. So it's not in any way a reflection on, anything other than good things.
Right.
And we appreciate what you do to make those kind of decisions, ones that we can. I would certainly support the mayor's thinking about waiving the parking fees for that particular event. We've asked the chamber to help a lot in terms of organizing it. It's something that the mayor has had on the agenda for this board. I'd like to see that we waive that parking fee. Make that motion.
Could I make a comment before we vote on this? You say you saw church going to be charging $5 parking fee for this event?
5 to 10.
If we
we're
kept it
looking
at
for a
5,
sponsor.
if we kept it at 5, would that be, okay?
So I'm looking for a sponsor, a presenting sponsor to help offset. If we
Right.
get a sponsor, then
Yeah.
you can lower it down.
But for every concert that I've ever been to, parking is like $20, $25. Plus you paying for the ticket to get in to see a person of that caliber perform. I don't think that we'll be asking the people of Kernersville that much to pay $5 to park and hear a performance like that for $5. And I think most people in this day and time are accustomed to paying parking. When they go to the events that y'all have out there, what do y'all charge?
We charged, at the regional cross-country meet, we charged $10. At the conference meet, parking was $5. There was another weekday meet where parking was $5. And then the meets that charged admission, we didn't have a meet where they charged admission and parking at the same meet. So the admission Friday night lights was what, $10?
$10.
$10, and the state,
State was $10.
was it 10 or 12?
$15 a person.
It was 15 for the state meet, so the high was 15 and the low was 5 when we just charged for parking and no admission.
Yeah. Well, that's my feeling about it. I mean, $5 for a concert and parking, they ain't no bad deal, know where you go, you know. I just think that, you know, we could, you know, give a good entertainment for our citizens too, and just a minimum amount to pay for parking, it's not that much to ask.
May I add, the concert is Chris Lang, which is he's a national artist now. But there's 2 other bands opening up for him, and then we're also doing drones and a fireworks show. So it's a big event. So there's that too.
What is your recommendation for what to charge in parking to cover the cost? Is it, my concern too is like I agree, there's a lot of good points here, which is why I wanted us to focus on it in that, you know, it's not something to do lightly, but if there's for a reason, but the thing is there's an obligation then on Parks and Rec to advertise it so that people are not surprised.
Correct.
Because there's a cost, you got to have employees take the parking. I'm assuming you'd take cash or credit. So you're going to have to process this as people go in. And so there's that you know, logistical thing too.
Correct. So when we've done parking in that field, we've done it through handheld squares. So you tap and go to expedite speed. Staff would be working there, whether they'll be using it for parking or working crowd control, one way or the other. We'll have staff there. I do like Alderman Gorham's suggestion of $5. I agree. It's not too much to ask, especially for a concert or event of that magnitude, one-time event. I don't think it would be difficult to get sponsors to offset a lot of the cost as well. We just haven't gone out looking for one yet. So I think $5 is agreeable. I don't think there's an event you can go to like that you're not going to expect to pay for parking to park. And no admission, no ticket sales. National touring artists, it's pretty agreeable.
When do you anticipate, like, when are you going to start searching for sponsors? Like, you said that you don't have anybody right now.
Been meeting with Ashley, our events coordinator. She's coming back tomorrow, back in the office from New Year's Eve vacation. We'll get together tomorrow and start putting a roster of potential sponsors and meeting with them.
Part of me doesn't want to make a decision right now until we know, like, if they are going to have a sponsor, because what if you got $33,000 in sponsors? Then it would cover the cost of this. Like, I would rather us wait a little if we can, opposed to voting now and kind of putting ourselves into.
I agree. I think you can do that, see what your sponsors are, and, you know, you don't have to really, he will start advertising the event in the next few weeks probably, maybe in the next month. And then along with that, you'll know, once you know what your parking price is going to be, if anything, then you can put that in with advertisement for the event. I mean, we don't give them a whole lot of notice simply because they don't read it. For the cross-country meets, the parking is going to be whatever it is. I mean, it's kind of like show up, and we do cash only for the cross-country meet. It's like you got $10 cash. If you don't have any, you go to the store to the ATM and get you $10. And it's never been an issue, and we don't give them, I mean, we give them really, literally 20 minutes notice when they pull up to the stoplight that you may have to pay $10 when you pull in the field. So I do think the mayor's correct that you would need to get that word out that you're charging, but I think you can do that pretty easily with social media when you're advertising the event. But you'll know, I mean, you're going to start advertising the event, what, in February or March?
Yeah, so the strategy is to go from day 0 and back it up and do heavy advertising 3 weeks prior to ramping it up, and then just do prior drops now. Then, hey, it's coming, put it on your calendar, save the date, and then just start getting into it as you get closer. Because a lot of people respond when it's close to that date rather than now. But we'll start dropping stuff, bits and pieces now, and then ramp up as we get closer. But we're reaching out to an outside source that we use at the garden to advertise some of this stuff, to use them to start, getting on morning shows and magazines and newspapers and radio shows and all that kind of stuff.
So you'll probably know by March.
Yeah.
Late February, early March, whether you've got a sponsor.
Yeah, definitely.
So we could put it, if you wanted to, we could put it back on the agenda at the end of February, 1st of March. Update you on the sponsors, and then kind of set a price for parking. That.
It's okay. We just need to discuss it. This wasn't on the agenda in advance, so we had no way to prepare for
Yeah.
discussing it, so that's okay.
Everybody good with that? Just
Yeah,
put it
a lot
back
of good,
on.
I mean, if you're advertising it and people from outside of Kernersville are coming, like you can get into situations where you could have too many people, so you want people there who are serious about coming, so that. But I guess my question about cash, I'm glad to know that some of your parking is cash only, because my concern was that it might only be credit card, or whatever. And I've heard a lot of people kind of express concern about the city of Winston-Salem's choice for the parking near the courthouse, that you have to use an app. So that requires you have to have a smartphone, you have to have a credit card. It just seems like you ought to be able to, hand somebody $5 or $10 to park to come see Chris Lane, and not necessarily count on us being able to process that many cards, or that everybody has a card that they're willing to, put out to do that. So, because I think that IT's done a good job of addressing all the issues, but if you think about that many people with smartphones coming to concerts and events, you can overload network. Some festivals end up having boosters and stuff like that. It would be a pretty difficult situation if your squares weren't working. But I'm thinking you probably network them into the Wi-Fi at the rec center then to make sure they work.
We've experienced that already. The first tournament we had, we bogged down the broadband. So working with IT, we were able to get hotspots to boost broadband, and we haven't had a problem since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ernie, is it safe to say that an event like this, that we will probably have as many people outside of Kernersville attending as we would here in Kernersville for an event like this with this type of artistry?
Normally we see a lot of people from outside, just on Honeybee, Spring Folly. I've been able to see that using Placer. But someone with that Chris Lane, that's a national act, and you can get in for $5 to see a national act, he's going to attract from outside Kernersville. There's no ways about it. Just because he is a national act, he's got a big reputation. They're going to come.
I think it would be helpful for the board to see the whole plan, like Alderman Spanis was saying, sponsors, what price for parking is, the appropriate price for this.
Would it be appropriate to make a motion to table this until a later date?
Yeah, I was just going to ask them to bring back something at a future meeting.
Yeah, we can bring it. We'll put it on for either end of February, 1st of March, depending on what the sponsors look like. And at that time, we'll have a whole plan, kind of a agenda for the day, a plan showing what we have so far at that point. Because by then, everything will pretty much be finalized. It'll be only a month away, so.
I don't know if y'all noticed, some of the New Year's things, there's a parade out in California that I like to watch called the Rose Parade. They had an America 250 float in that, and then there's been references in more of the advertising, that kind of thing. So, America 250 is coming at us fast now. So thank you, Ernie, for working, planning ahead on this endeavor. Is there anything else that, before we move on, as Mayor Pro Tem Gorham recommended, that we'd like to see, in the plan or whatever when he brings it back addressed? I want to make sure there wasn't any other. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ernie.
You're welcome.
What's
Madam
next,
Mayor.
Curtis?
And since Alderman Apple did make a motion, we probably should have him officially withdraw that earlier motion.
It died for lack of a
It didn't
second.
get a second.
Okay, that works too.
He'd like to withdraw it, though. You asked if you wanted, you were fine. Keith couldn't hear you because your microphone, so,
There you go.
okay.
So the next item, just an update, you have some information coming to you, is within the next couple of months, we will be bringing to you a letter of intent to purchase a new ladder truck. And the information you have here is information regarding our ladder 41 and ladder 42. 41 is the main truck, 42 is a backup. Both of them are at the point now where they are requiring a lot of maintenance, a lot of costs for repairs. So we're going to look at replacing the main ladder truck, which is, what is it, Chief, 9 years old now? Somewhere in there. 2014, so it's 11 years old. And we'll replace it and then put the current one in reserve status and sell the one that is currently our backup. So just a FYI, you've got the information, you can look over it. We'll bring that letter of intent. We need that letter of intent so we can go ahead and get it ordered and get it here, because as you all are familiar with a lot of the big equipment purchases, Alderman Pigram and Sabanis, they take about sometimes 18 months. I think I may have mentioned that to you all when we met. You know, some of them are 18 months to 20 months out. So we get the letter of intent. It doesn't obligate the board to anything, but it does get the equipment. We can go ahead and order it. And then we will probably put it in the budget for 26, 27. But you've got the information there. If you got any questions about it, when we bring the letter of intent, you know, if you got any questions in, you can ask, or if you got any questions before that, feel free to email me or Chief Alderman. We'll get you some answers on that. Also related to the fire department, let Chief Alderman come up, update you on some things. They're going to be doing a survey here in the next month or so, and Chief Alderman will update you all on that so that you're not wondering what it is when you get it.
It's not spam.
Yeah, it's not spam, so please answer.
First off, Happy New Year, Madam Mayor and Board. So the fire department started back in September of last year working on a strategic plan update. Our last strategic plan was implemented in 2020, so it's time to do an update on the plan. We have achieved a lot of the goals and objectives that were set in the previous plan, and so we started that process, like I said, in September. And we started with internal meetings within the department. We're utilizing what's called a community-driven strategic planning process, where we take internal and external feedback, and we have a strategic plan team within a department that will come together sometime during the month of March and take this feedback and digest all of it and develop goals and objectives based off what our internal stakeholders are saying and our external stakeholders are saying as well. And so we held about 25 meetings within the department between September and December, and now it's time to go outside of the department. And so that's why we are reaching out to you. We're very interested in your feedback in your fire department, and we want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do for the community. And so we have 5 questions. It's a real easy survey that I will send you. Hopefully it will not get caught up in your spam folder, but it will be a link that you can click on. It's a Microsoft Forms survey, and it's just 5 basic questions. If you're familiar with strategic plans, it's SWOT analysis type questions: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. They're not called that specifically, but that's what they're based on. So we would very much appreciate your feedback, and I'll be getting that survey out to you very soon. Be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
It's up to Adam whether we get the survey or if it gets caught in spam.
Adam's ducking.
I think if Adam fixed credit card
And-
processing at Ivy Redmond. He probably can fix this too, so.
And the last item you've got in your packet, or at your seat there, the budget actual report year to date. Shows you what was budgeted, what's been spent so far, what's been revised. Keep in mind that, you know, there may not be anything spent from a line item right yet, and that might change tomorrow. So some things we purchase up front, some things we wait, purchase at the end. The ad valorem tax, you know, it usually comes in really heavy along about the end of December, 1st of January. So you have that in your packet. And with that, as you all are aware, Franz Zader, our long-term finance director of 18 years, he retired on December the 31st. Rebecca East, sitting there behind her and waving at you, is our new finance director. And she started her position on January 1st, I guess, or January 2nd. So do a great job. She's been with the town for several years. Latest position before finance director, she was purchasing and budgeting director. I guess that was right. No, that's what her role was. I'm not sure what the title was, but that's what she did. She's one that really did the budget last year, pretty much the year before that. He has moved up and will be the new finance director, and I think I introduced Angie Whitley, our new HR director, at the last meeting, and behind her is Chris Jensen, our new public services director. So we've got 3 new department heads here in a period of about 3 months, maybe. Probably less than that, probably about a month and a half, 2 months. So they all will do a great job. They've all been with the town prior to their new position. They've all been with the town in other positions. And I think that's all I have. If I missed anything, we'll figure it out next month.
Or we could figure it out the 28th.
Exactly. So we do have another meeting this month, don't we?
All right, Mr. Powell, it is time for the matters to be presented by the town attorney.
I don't have any comments other than say, hope all of you had a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, and we do have a need for a short closed session.
All right, matters to be presented by the mayor, Board of Aldermen. Sarah, would you like to start?
I've got nothing today.
Thank you. Mr. Apple?
I just want to really quickly say that thank you to all the department heads that whether you're new in your current role or whether you've been there for years and it's not new to you at all, we're really happy at how you do what you do. We're extremely fortunate to have the longevity of our department directors and the ability and the opportunity for you to move up in the organization. And we look forward to working with you in 26 and 27. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Ditto what Bill just said. Welcome to the new kids on the block. Chief, got a question or concern from a constituent of Kernersville in regards to I guess it's the turn-in lane. They're located at Chick-fil-A and PayPal. Yeah, it's getting to a point where one of our constituents says she almost got run over with people not. Yes, that area right there. If you could maybe put some attention there or check into it to see what's actually taking place there, I would.
Yeah, so
if you
that's
could address that.
private.
That's private.
That's all private there, so there's really not a lot we can do.
Okay.
But we will try to, we'll watch that as best we can. We'll have some officers down there to kind of look at it, monitor it.
That would be great. Thank you. I mean, I just want us to be kind of thinking proactive on it. I don't want it to wait till we have some substantial accident there before we start doing something about it. Be reactive as opposed to proactive. Is my concern.
I will reach out also to the property management like that and see if we can talk to them.
Okay, Randy Pegram.
Appreciate it. I hope everybody had a really good holiday. On behalf of the rookies here, I'd like to thank everybody for making us feel at home and look forward to a long relationship with all of y'all.
I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody. Looks like we have to go into a closed session, so is there a motion?
Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3, I move that the board go into closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
Motion by Alderman Sabanis. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous. This meeting is now in closed session. Welcome back to the regular meeting of the Kernersville Board of Aldermen. Is there any further business before the board this evening? Seeing none, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham, a second by Alderman Spanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. This meeting is now adjourned.